what laws should we suspend? What laws should we pass to make it more of a military occupation state? Because that's what we'll end up becoming if we're invaded. So that means we have to go military mode. So, and military mode is a very broad thing, so it could be really anything. And because you gotta think, the legislature represents the people. So they gotta go with what their constituents are saying. So they gotta be that, while people are panicking, getting shot at, or shooting at the enemy, the legislators gotta be there in a calm mind, figuring out, okay, we need to figure this out right now, how we're gonna fight the enemy, negotiate with the enemy, or anything like that to repel this invasion. So it is a little complicated, I won't lie, because obviously it's never happened before. So it's a really hard question, I won't lie to you. Yeah, I won't lie. It's a very, very hard question. It's like, cause it's never happened before. That's a lie. It has happened before, just not in the United States. Because you gotta think, what if we're at war? What laws are we gonna suspend? So you can't suspend rights. That's different. You can suspend the laws that you put in place. So, knowing us, we're probably not gonna have that many laws to begin with. So, um, that's a very good question. I guess all I could really, I mean, I don't know. I probably have to bring this up to the Queen, but all I can honestly think of, I guess they're going out there and fight too, or get their family and leave.
Well,
Or just evacuate the island. So, I mean,
you're saying
whatever they think is right to get their family out, so, or protect their family. So,
if they want to fight them, quote unquote, voluntarily, they can and they will.
yep,
That's the point of it.
that's the point. So, I guess I'll leave this one out for now. We're gonna skip this one because I think we're gonna leave it out for now because that's basically because well, we still need a functioning government. That's the whole point of the legislators'
Yeah.
existence, is to be a functioning government. So the legislature needs to exist and still be functioning even during wartime.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're actually invaded, I think the legislature should literally, in wartime, exist to tell me what to do and how to do it. But I decide on the field if it's right or not. So, like, if I get a thing that says attack the enemy here, but I don't think it's a good strategy, so I'll attack the enemy there. But I'll do what you said and attack the enemy. I ain't going to attack the enemy where you told me. So
I have that whole situation pictured in my head that reminds me of the movie. This is just an example. You know the Mulan cartoon movie?
Mulan,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know how the general, before they took off, they had this map directly in the middle where they showed the battalions, stuff like that on there?
yeah.
Maybe we'll have something like that, but except more computerized or something.
Well, well, that part's obvious, but you got to think so too. The legislature in wartime can definitely talk about military. It can definitely talk about war,
Yeah.
but it cannot strategize in it. It's the military commander that's got to strategize how to fight the enemy on the field. So the legislature has to ensure the government stays functioning while everybody's fighting. So it's complicated. It really is, because
Mm-hmm.
the United States. It's been so long since the United States has ever gotten invaded that uh that it's almost non-existent. So it's like, I don't know how the legislature would function, honestly. Like, I'm
Yeah.
hoping if we ever get invaded and we win, we defended our nation, they leave or die. They leave or die, and we get back to work on functioning government again. I guess the legislators just go back to work as normal, I guess. I mean, in wartime, it's get a gun and fight. I mean,
Mhm.
we're a small ass island. As soon as they touch foot on our coast, they're down the street from the Capitol building. So I mean, I guess just fight. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, that honestly, me too.
Yeah, so I guess Second Amendment all the way, I guess. So, yeah. So I guess we're gonna skip that one.
On the
Because
paper.
militias, because here's the thing, even though we're gonna have the Royal Navy, every federal county is allowed to have their own local militia, or any community in Nix is allowed to have their own militia. Okay, like it's a group of civilians with guns that's going to defend their rights from either us or the foreign invaders. So, or a group of thugs that's terrorizing their town and they got no police, or the government's not doing anything for them and we're not doing anything for them, so they're just going to defend themselves and police themselves. You know how it's supposed to be. So, all right, number 22. Wow, that's very short. Very, very short.
And we're only all down to 2 papers left.
And number 22 is irrelevant because there's actually nothing in it that we can use. So number 23.
Last paper.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is. I thought it was 24. I I honestly thought it was 24. Yay, we're in the last paper. Oh, that means there's the harder part. Great. Anyway. All right. Let's see. Special sessions. Yes. Yes. Just automatic yes. And here's why. I actually have a bill. I actually have a bill that's on the list right now that's being proposed where the prime minister can call for a special session of the unicameral. So like if I call for a special session, I'm allowed to call it on any day that's not a unicameral meeting day. But that also means since it's an emergency session, you're still if it's a special session as a legislator, you're still mandated by the Constitution to come to that meeting. So you have, even though it's not on a normal scheduled meeting day, if there's a special session being called, you are mandated to come to that meeting. And if you're late, you get the same kind of punishment you get as a normal meeting scheduled day. So that's how special sessions work. So honestly, that's all that is. So do you agree on that?
Honestly, yeah.
Okay. Now the Queen already has the ability to call for a special session. I don't. So, but now, well, hold on a minute. Does this actually involve the legislative branch? It does. Okay, yeah, no, it does. Okay, yeah, no, it makes sense. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say it's like, well, it's talking about the government. Well, no, it is the legislative branch because it's calling them into session. So, not just any special session. When say if the law passes, if I call for a special session for any reason, the unicameral meeting has to talk about whatever I summoned y'all to talk about. So if I want to call a special session about banning hot dogs, then you know what you guys do? You go to your meeting and you discuss about making laws about banning hot dogs. Or just don't. It's like, why the hell are we having this session? Right? So, but because of you being in that special session, you now have to stay in that session until you figure out if you're really going to ban hot dogs or not. So, that's another thing too. I'm gonna see if there's any annotations where how long does a special session last? I mean, that's the true question. We're actually under a special session right now in Kentucky because the governor called it for the Eastern Kentucky flooding. So the legislature is only allowed to talk about making laws or budget bills going towards Eastern Kentucky for flood damages and such. So.
And with the rains that we're expecting for Hurricane Ian, they're going to get flooded.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot more stuff. Let's see, I don't see any annotations regarding. Hold on. Yeah, I don't see any annotations.
They could last as long as they're made to be last.
Proclamation calling special session may be revoked by the governor. Oh! Huh. Okay. So there's two ways to end a special session, at least according to Nebraska. You can either do the same amount of time that you're doing a special session like you do any normal session, or I say end it. Because I was the reason you got called to a special session, so I'm going to be the reason you're going to end it. So I can revoke the proclamation of calling a special session, meaning I could say, like, if you guys have been doing meetings for like a whole month or whatever, and it's like, all right, I think that's enough now. Y'all can stop the meeting. I'm going to say it a lot more formal and better than that, but that's how it's basically going to end. So, yeah, we're going to copy from that. Mm-hmm. I'll copy from that and then work with it on the draft, make it sound a lot better, I guess.
Basically, work it out like a script or something.
Pretty much. Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're done.